Welcome back to EPR with your favorite environmental enthusiasts, Nick and Laura. On today's episode, we're taking a break from our interviewing as we gear up for the NAEP conference in Minnesota that starts on May 5th in Minneapolis. If you haven't registered, please do. It's going to be a great time. Wonderful, wonderful event. And yeah, so we're actually just going to have a quick segment today. We're going to talk about making the most out of a conference, and we'll catch you again next week. So without further ado, hit that music. We've got the conference coming up, right? We've been doing interviews for different kinds of positions. We've got, a lot of different things going on. We're working on getting the group together. I don't know how much of that sounds interesting or entertaining, but I don't know. I could talk about like getting the most out of a conference since we have the NAP conference coming up. I don't know.
Sure. I can do oohs and ahs for effect.
You've never been to a conference before, right?
I have not.
No, which we're going to change, by the way. That's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, probably.
You're going to go. I should put it this way. If that's what you want, truthfully.
I probably should, but when I say it's what I want to go to a facility filled with a bunch of random people I don't know, and I have to be like, hey, I'm Sam. Nice to meet you.
Right.
All right. How's it going? It's just not going to be fun for me.
Right. Oh my gosh. You're like,
unless I have someone to go with.
Yeah, it's exactly. This is the perfect conversation to have. That was actually, step one, never go by yourself.
Yes. I'd be terrified going by myself.
Yeah. But that's it, right? So, so there's times where you have to go to events like this no matter what, even if you don't, you're not a conference person, you don't want to go to those events. You'll have to go to them at some point. You'll have to meet people at some point. Even when you're a PM and you're running a meeting, you are meeting a bunch of random people in a room, So there's always something like that. And, I think good managers, good companies will make sure that junior staff that does go to those things or younger staff don't go by themselves. And the pressure to be on isn't there when you first go. It's just kind of like, I always say, and I know Laura would agree with this, it's like, just try to find someone you enjoy talking to, right? Like just try to find a friend, find a connection point with one person the first time you go. Mm-hmm. And, okay, great. I'd also say give yourself breaks, right? Don't
go hide in the bathroom.
Yeah, seriously. Yes, if it's in a hotel and it's your hotel,
go hide in
your room. Give yourself a break. Sometimes you can do it even in the same room. You can be like, I just need to go get a glass of water or whatever. And even that can be enough to calm you down to go back out there. It's funny. We have someone coming with me to the NAEP conference for the first time. We had a conversation literally earlier today. And I was like, don't worry, I won't leave you alone when we have, dinners or events or whatever. We'll plan what we need to do separately and what we're going to do together so that you're not just I'm not just throwing you to the wolves,
Nice.
And so she was like, yeah, okay, I appreciate that. Cause I was a little worried. I'm like, I know, because it's like a first time thing. So, but yeah, it's always a long game with conferences. Like being involved and being actively involved is really helpful. Getting on a board, becoming a treasurer, president, whatever. Those are great, but you don't just start there. You can't be like, hi, I'm on the board now, right? And people are like, who are you? You kind of got to learn who's on the board, who's important to that organization. Is this the right organization, first of all, for me to be on a board?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have enough value? Most conferences, organizations need people. They need volunteers. So a lot of them will be excited to have people volunteer to help. And so that's the fastest way for you to learn the players, the people, and how everything kind of works together. And so that's really daunting when you first go. And so, that's why it's a long game. Sometimes you'll be going to a conference for a couple of years. If you go every year, after a couple of years, people start to recognize you. After a few more, people will really know who you are. And the more involved you get, the faster that happens. And you'll see people, your friends. I'm excited to see people at NAEP that I haven't seen all year. And, that part's really, really fun.
Yeah.
the last conference I went to, I remember like day one, Dennis Peters, who's been interviewed on the show, just ran up to me and gave me like the great handshake. He was just like, Nick, it's so good to see you, you know? And there's a feeling like that's a very positive thing. You're just really happy to have that interaction. And there's like all kinds of those at that conference because I've been going for so long, you know, and I know so many people. But my first conference at NAEP, I actually like absolutely had like a little mini panic attack the first time. This was in California and there were so many people there. And I was like completely overwhelmed. I was like a kid. It's like my, I think it was like second year working.
Ooh.
And yeah, I didn't know anybody. I felt like totally overwhelmed. I even had like a list of names of people I could talk to. And I got really scared. And I was like, I'm afraid to talk to them. I talked to one person and he was like, I don't know who you are. I was like, I know Carol Sneed. And he was like, oh, I love Carol. And then walked away. Like that was the whole conversation, you know? So it was really tough for even, you know, like people might not think that, but that was hard for me. I had a hard time, especially my very first one. It got much easier as it went along, but that was really funny. I remember being like, wow, I am embarrassing myself. I will never do this again. And, you know, and now like 10 conferences later, it's pretty good. So yeah, I don't have that worry or fear at all anymore.
Nice.
And it's kind of the opposite. So yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of times people have an experience that's even slightly negative and kind of push away from it. And my advice is just, you know, don't be afraid to do it again. Most people say, you know, try anything once. It's like, try anything twice because you just never know. Like sometimes you
might
had
just be bad luck.
Yeah, exactly. One of my friends once told me, if you don't like a show in the first 4 episodes, you don't like that show. But, you know, she didn't say the first episode, you know, she's like, you have to give it time. Because sometimes it just takes a while for you to see, like, is this my groove? Are these my people? You know, because there's nothing better than like being in a room full of people that have the same thoughts, ideas, and, you know, curiosities as you, you know? So you might as well, you know, try to find that niche and roll with it. But it doesn't mean it's for everybody. There's certain people that just they don't want to do that, and that's totally fine too. But if you're going to go, try to make the most of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, there we go. That's our little segment for conference gearing up for our conference. How about that?
Very good.
All right. That'll do it for this week, folks. Thank you so much. Be sure to check us out each and every Friday. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. See you, everybody.
Bye.